We're going live, and we have. Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of our live market overview with myself, Pumpeye, and Bilo, the former bear, who is now a bull. Get in there, Bilo. How are you doing?
Good morning, afternoon, and evening, depending on which time zone you're in. We're happy you're able to join us for another live edition of Crypto Society's live market overview with Pumpeye, the Sailor Man, and myself.
Former sailor man, I am now trader man.
Nah, you're still the sailor.
What should I be today?
So guys, we'll start where we always start. For those that haven't joined us before, a very quick overview, gets quicker each week as we move away from it, but we've completed the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ending with a ending wave diagonal, which is a very bearish sign. We had a correction ABC with a perfect 1.618 bounce off of this level right here, and have since been in this channel, which many have likened to the Wyckoff accumulation channel. And we here actually broke out of the channel. In breaking out of the channel, we have constantly told you guys that there are 3 important points to get over before we can become bullish. These 3 important points were the 200 EMA on the 4-hour time frame, the 200 EMA on the daily, and finally this level right here at around $42,000, which is the previous top of the grand cycle wave 3. Why is it important? Is because it's a focal point before we had a very large retracement and continued on up to form this ending wave diagonal. We're currently above it. You saw that there was some resistance here. We went down below, we came back above it. So it's really good that we're above this resistance zone, which hopefully now should become support. But for it to become support and for us to be able to claim it as support, what we need to do is actually retest that area. Is that going to happen? I have no clue. Right now, there's really no reason for me to think we're going to drop from 44.7 to 42. But it's something I would like to see, and I'm sure everybody in the market would like to see as well, especially those with a more of a future vision of what this chart should look like, because reclaiming this area as support and testing it a little bit more than it's been tested, which hasn't really been tested, just gives us a base from which to build upon and see Bitcoin go to higher highs. At the moment, we are looking at some bearish divergences. On the 1 daily, we still have approximately 10 hours to go before we can say this candle has printed a bearish divergence. But what we can see here, and we just need to zoom in a little bit, is this doji. And typically when we see dojis at the top of a trend, it's typically a bearish sign. But then again, we still have time for this candle to close. If we zoom in and go into a 4-hour time frame and see what we're looking at on a 4-hour time frame, we also see that there's some bearish divergence on RSI. So let me redraw this, because as we change time frames, the lines also change. RSI, so if we go here, we connect the 2 tops. It's that simple, guys, bearish divergence. You just want to look at the tops and see what's happening. So we're into this RSI resistance. Even though we made a higher high, we're making the same top on RSI. And yeah, that's about it. We don't see we don't see anything other than that for the time being. What we do see on market cipher B, and I will have Mr. Pumpeye explain this because he knows this indicator better than I do. Pumpy, what are we looking at here? Is that a sell signal? Pumpy, you there?
It does look like we've got a sell signal there on the momentum indicators, suggesting that the momentum is about to change to the downside. We're also currently fighting with the 200 simple moving average on the daily.
On the 4-hour or on the daily?
On the daily. But
let me just put it in there.
It's the simple moving average, not the.
Yeah. I'll put it in there.
I prefer,
So everybody can see
to
it.
keep things simple. It's just under moving averages. It was down there.
Moving average. We'll just add it in there so we can see it.
So we're absolutely bang on there. Look, it's the yellow one that's around the price action at the moment.
200. Let me just get rid of this one and this one.
Oh,
There we go.
You don't
So,
like my other simple moving averages?
Terrible. Yeah, they're lovely. So this is what Pumpey is referring to. This is the simple moving average. And again, guys, the difference you hear, you hear us talking about moving averages a lot. So there's exponential moving average and there's simple moving average. Moving average is essentially when we're talking about a 200 simple moving average, it's just the average of the last 200 candles on the daily, if we're referring to the daily. And the only difference between this one and the exponential moving average is that the exponential moving average puts a higher weight on the most recent candles rather than just averaging out the candles over the course of the 200 that were made over the past 200 days. Which one is better? There's no good answer for this because they're all used. So as you can see here, there is some reaction in the 200 MA. So nobody can deny that there are traders looking at this and reacting to it. And like anything else, any and all signals only mean something if enough people use them, look after them, and react to them. So we do see something here that is a potential warning sign on Bitcoin, that there could be a reversal here. It's not a very strong sign at the moment. Pumpey, correct me if I'm wrong. This little red dot is not like a strong sign unless we go into market cipher A, take a look at, see if we have some red diamonds here. This blood diamond didn't really work out very well, but there is a red diamond here, which indicates also.
We had a bit of a dip there. We did actually have a bit of a dip there. You have your candles really small, remember that?
Yeah, you're right. It does look a little, yeah. So
you need to make your candles bigger so they're more impressive and they have more of an impact, Bilo, and they scare you.
Oh, no. Some of us have no issues with their candles. Okay, so we had a little dip here. Yeah, it's okay. So anyway, so Bitcoin looks like.
Bilo, can I just point out that if you look here on the momentum indicator at the bottom, there is a buy signal, and then shortly afterwards there's a sell signal followed. So you can tell by that and by the fact that if you enlarge the momentum indicator or the market cipher B, sorry, so that it fills the screen a second.
Enlarge the momentum indicator, yes, sir. Let me do that. Here we go.
You can see, so it's not really moving down a great deal. The momentum has changed to downwards, but actually there's a bit of a battle going on here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there's a bit of a fight for whether we're going to go above the 200 simple moving average or not, because we hit it yesterday at the end, at the close, and then we opened today in a downwards direction, which actually would have been a perfect opportunity for a short, for a scalping short.
I actually scalped yesterday.
Yeah, we've got a bit of a sort of a doji situation going on, where the price can't decide whether to go up or down. So you could look at the daily for today, and if we close in the same sort of situation as we are now, where we're right in the middle of pretty much at the opening price, we close at the opening price, you could probably take that as a temporary top, and that we're going to see some downwards momentum, at least like the retracement wave that we see if we look back on the chart on the daily. You can see there's been a clean retracement, and then we've come back up again, and it's actually a really perfect looking uptrend at the moment, isn't it? On the daily.
It does look very nice. Not to alarm anyone, I am in a short at the moment. It's what I call a scalping short. Like I said, there is no strong reason to think that we're going to have this crazy move down. It is Sunday though. For some reason things tend to drop a little bit on Sunday, but these candles here to me are just bearish candles. They're not sustainable to continue going up, plus with the bearish divergence. And now we have this sell signal here. Something new that we haven't really talked about in the past, guys, part of Market Cipher, this indicator that we're using, there's this DBSI. And just plainly speaking, it just talks about strength of the candle, whether it's to the upside or to the downside. We can have another session on this, but essentially, if you have a high number at the top and a low number at the bottom, well, this is a strong bearish momentum that's forming. The higher the number on top, the lower the one at the bottom. It can go to -5 at the bottom, and it can go to, I guess, 20, I think, at the top. The more reason you would have and saying, okay, this is a bearish candle and this is a good place to short. It measures strength of the candle, essentially. It's an algorithm that we don't really have access to in order to explain to you how exactly it works. But you could go on Market Cipher's website and listen to the video that's there. There is a short video on how these candles work and these numbers work, and it's quite interesting. I've been following it for a few weeks now, trying to see if it actually adds up. And you know what? Most of the time it does. It's actually interesting. Same thing if you go to the daily, you could see that this big doji right now. I mean, it just goes to what Pumpeye is saying, is that there is no direction. I mean, there's no high number at the bottom. There is no high number at the top. This is more bullish than bearish when you're looking at the daily, because there's still 9-10 hours to go. But this doji, to me, if it stays as a doji, I'm expecting that the next few days will be going back down. And going back down, we're not talking about a crash. It would be very nice to retest this area as support before we continue back up, as I was saying earlier. Something I would like to share here also is, I'm just going to get rid of all these indicators just so we can see the screen. I'll keep Pumpeye's moving average, so he's not mad at me. And we'll keep this. Okay. So this is kind of the chart we've been sharing here, guys, for the past few weeks when we do our live market overview. We spoke about this line several times, connecting the all-time high to the next all-time high, to the next high, and to the next one. We've gone below, well, not to the next one, actually. This is where we said this is going to be a point of interest. Are we going to make it through? We did not make it through. We came back down. We found support, and then we broke through it like it wasn't even there. So this is the area we'd like to retest. Like, we'd like to come back to the 42 level, but also the top of this line would be nice. Obviously, the further away you go, the lower that line becomes. So we'd want to see it tested like soon, because it just kind of gives that gives the market that sense that, okay, this is a real line. It did react in 3 places, and jumping off of that line will give that sense of bullishness moving forward. That's gone. The channel, guys. So this channel here, okay? If we do an Elliott wave on this channel, starting with, again, going back to the Wyckoff theory, I think you've all seen it plenty of times, but I'll still bring it in here one more time. So this is what the Wyckoff chart looks like, right? So now this is the channel we were in. So we would be somewhere here right now, okay? So again, guys, this doesn't mean that we're going straight up. There's a lot of noise that's been canceled out in this diagram. But so far, we really have followed this Wyckoff accumulation almost to the T. It's been really interesting to see. And so if we do an Elliott wave count on where we would be, and I would start it at the low point, which was called the low volume sell-off on the chart, which would be right here. So this would be 1, this would be 2, and then we'd need to see where 3 is, 4 and 5, and so on. And if we do a Fibonacci extension on waves 1, 2 to see what the projected potential values of wave 3 are, look at this, 2.618. It's, I mean, 1.618 is gone. This is definitely, we're still in wave 3 right here. And you know what? When I'm looking at this, this is wave 1, 2. So technically, if I do another Fibonacci extension on this, and if we're looking for the continuation of Bitcoin to the upside, I would want to target wave 3, wave 3 of wave 2 to be somewhere here at 59K. This here would be wave 3 of wave 2. So if I was to draw another Elliott wave count internal to this, this would be a 1, 2, 3. And then it doesn't really matter where 4 and 5 are. I just wanted to make the point. But this would be the target right here of wave, where am I? This would be the target between 2 and 3 would be right here. So the next target would be 59K if we continue on up. Of course, we can have noise, we can have retracements on the way. And I know this is getting confusing because there's a lot of information on the chart, but if I was to maybe try to simplify this, again, this is wave 1, 2. Wave 3 going up is what we're trying to target. Inside of wave 3, there are 5 waves. So this would be wave 1, wave 2, and then I'm looking for wave 3 of 3. So redrawing it again, wave 3 of 3. I'm looking for it to be at around 58,000 to 59,000. Somewhere in this region is what I would target for wave 3 of 3. And then wave 4 would come back down, and wave 5 would be somewhere in the 60, basically the all-time high region. This is the way that I see it going right now. You were saying, Pumpeye?
It's not like you to have lots of information on your charts.
Yeah. So let me draw this here one more time. So this is 1, 2.
Most of the time, I think that the smallest thing on your charts is actually the chart.
3, 4, 5. This is what I think is the path. Okay. And guys, obviously, this is all noise in between. There's going to be a lot of noise in between. Okay. It's not like this is just going to go straight up. But look at this. And this is done based on a perfect Elliott wave, where wave 3 is 1.618 of wave 2. And you go back and you look at the market cipher. The markets, not market cipher, excuse me, Wyckoff. It looks really like that. This is what it would look like. So if it continues on, that's what I'm looking to see. This is what I'd be looking to see. And just drawing it again one more time so it's clearer, because I was just doing my calculations at the same time. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It would look something like this. Okay. This is the ideal situation where we continue up from here. But I personally really would like to see it retest this area before we do that. And if we do retest this area before we do that, it kind of invalidates this count, because we cannot have wave 3 being lower than wave 1. Because like here, if this is wave 1 and this is wave 2, then wave 3 would really have to go up higher. So if we see it go back down, we'd have to restart this count, and all this is now become useless information. And this is really the way it is in Elliott wave. When it doesn't work, the only way that Elliott wave is something you can count on and use in TA is if it follows the rules of Elliott wave. Because the minute it breaks off, you have to find out where you miscounted, or sometimes it could just be a failed wave, and therefore you have to start counting again. So it's not like you could just always predict what's going to happen, because you do have failed waves. And that's, I guess, the weakness behind Elliott wave theory. A lot of people don't like it, but I like it because it gives me a sense of where the targets should be. One thing we pointed out not long ago, also, I think last week or the week before, is on the weekly chart of Bitcoin and a lot of other coins after, this here. This here is a buy signal, a very strong buy signal that came up last week. We spoke about it in the NCS. We posted it in the TA chat. as well as last week in the live TA. The last time we saw a signal like this was right here in April of 2020. And we can see that the signal did not lie because we had a very nice move to the upside. So I'd be, looking out for these weekly buy signals on Bitcoin and other assets because they've performed quite well. I didn't look into this personally, but apparently the ribbon indicator, I haven't used the ribbon indicator, but I've read up on a few people, TAs that have been discussing the ribbon indicator and how it's also showing a buy signal for the first time in a long time. And that the last time there was a buy signal on the ribbon indicator, there was a huge pump to the upside. So I don't know, Pumpeye, if you know a little bit about the ribbon indicator, but a lot of people talking about it and saying that there should be a pump coming very soon.
Do you know what? I don't know so much about the ribbon indicator, but actually, if you look at the weekly there, the last time that there was a buy signal on that momentum indicator, that was at April last year, which actually would have been the best time you could possibly got into Bitcoin, bar maybe right at the beginning, because the increase that we'd seen between the $3,000, $4,000 that it was at that point, and even now is phenomenal.
Yep.
It's obviously not what you'd take in terms of maybe some altcoins, but you're also a lot safer in Bitcoin to some degree than you would be in a lot of altcoins. So take that as you will. You said about the ribbon indicator. Can you show that on your chart?
I don't know. I just read about it. A few TAs and YouTubers are talking about it. I haven't used the ribbon indicator myself. I don't have it. I think it's a paid indicator as well.
It's not the same as the EMA ribbons that we have on the market side for ADA.
No, I think it's really something else. It's a ribbon that prints at the bottom. It's got like similar to this, has a whole bunch of colors and then some green dots. And I've seen it once before, but it's not something I've ever used.
Okay, maybe we should have a look into it.
In any case, I just wanted to mention that there's a lot of YouTubers and TAs talking about it and saying that it's printed a buy signal for the first time in a long time. And that when it does normally print the buy signal, it usually flies from there. So it's just an interesting thing to notice along with our own indicator that we're using. I'd like to just show you guys something else. If you look at, and I'd like to talk about Ethereum specifically, because Ethereum, I mean, again, so much talk on Ethereum being the next, biggest thing, bigger than Bitcoin. I'm hearing more and more these days that it could eventually not very far away from where we are today, surpass Bitcoin in terms of market cap. The Ethereum hard fork, EIP 1559, passed successfully last week. There hasn't been any issues so far with miners. This is something people were worried about, that miners would, kind of revolt and make trouble, but so far that has not been the case. The only possible thing that can happen, the way I'm looking at this right now with this new protocol, hard fork, is maybe miners are just going to say, you know what, we're not making enough money on Ethereum, and they might go searching for other chains to mine on and maybe be more profitable on. If that was to happen, I guess the impact on Ethereum would be slowing down again. And if that happens, well, obviously that's not good for the price or the ecosystem itself, and you could see that cause a little bit of damage to the Ethereum network. But it's too soon to say, because if more people come on Ethereum, then there'll be more transactions. And if there's more transactions, even though the miners are making less per transaction, there's enough transactions to go around that they'll make it back some way, somehow. So it's too soon to say, but Ethereum is looking fantastic. And just looking from a Bitcoin dominance to an Ethereum dominance perspective, I hate charting Bitcoin dominance, because Bitcoin dominance is a picture of what's going on in the market. And to me, it's not tradable. But I mean, some way, somehow, it just seems to work out. We drew this head and shoulders here a while back, and look at this. I mean, the target is almost to the T. But look how much Bitcoin dominance has dropped since December of 2020. And compare this to Ethereum dominance, it's just been going up. And if you look at Ethereum dominance over the past, let's say, few days, we broke through this.
There's a nice rounded bottom stroke cup in handle there on the Ethereum.
Yeah.
The Ethereum dominance, yes.
Yeah, that was on a weekly. Like I said, I have a hard time with the concept of TAing this. It doesn't make sense to me to TA it, but if enough people do and act accordingly, then I guess it becomes meaningful.
Actually, it's a cup and handle, isn't it? But
yeah, it is.
But yeah, you say that, but with Ethereum dominance, because it's quite simply just that one coin, you could use the Ethereum dominance potentially if they do work, if the patterns do work out like that, to buy into Ethereum with the thought that it's going to increase in dominance by quite a lot. So if you use that as
so again, if this is a side effect, I mean, not a side effect. If this is an indicator to what's happening on the market, I have a hard time with the concept of buying and selling based on trying to find TA patterns in the chart. But again, if enough people use this or TA patterns in dominance charts to buy and sell, then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and if eventually it works out, and yeah, you're right, people will, or you can chart dominance and say, we have a head and shoulders, we have an inverse head and shoulders, this is the Elliott wave count, we have a buy signal on market cipher, and go buy Ethereum based on the dominance chart. I have a hard time with this, but I suppose it's possible. Like I said, if enough people do it, it'll work. But what I wanted to show you guys, I mean, yes, this is amazing, the growth of Ethereum dominance. And I want to share something on-chain with you later that is also outstanding. But just going back to the daily chart, we had this peak that we kept on, this line that we kept on getting rejected, and here we go. We finally rose above it. We're testing Ethereum dominance local all-time high. Local, I want to see if it is a real all-time high. It's not, because we were higher before, but it's a local all-time high. So this is an interesting point to see if we get above it. But on chain, there's something even more interesting than this, and that's what I want to share with you guys. So if you look at Bitcoin on chain analysis, and you see as Bitcoin is going up, reserves were going down. Reserves going down on an exchange just means that more Bitcoin is flowing out of the exchange. Remember, when we see Bitcoin flow into an exchange, everybody feels bearish because Bitcoin's flowing in, it's going to get sold. And we see Bitcoin flowing out of an exchange, we feel bullish because Bitcoin is not going to get sold. Under that premise, because I believe there's also other reasons why Bitcoin flows in and out of an exchange, but under that, let's say, collective premise, as Bitcoin was going up from the 30s, we saw that the reserves were going down, meaning that Bitcoin was leaving exchanges. But in this leg up right here, look at this. As this leg up, as we're going up here from this final leg up to where we are today, Bitcoin reserves are increasing. So they're coming back in. So this to me indicates that maybe around this price range, and as you know, we were saying how when we started this whole TA session, that around the price range we're in, there is fear that there will be capitulation, that there's prices will kind of come back down a little bit to retest areas that were not tested before. And I'd like to show you now, so this is for Bitcoin. If we go and look at Ethereum, it's really interesting, guys. It's the opposite. It's just going to load. So as Ethereum is going up, look at this. The reserves are going down. It's not behaving at all like Bitcoin. So what does that tell me? It tells me that there's more confidence in Ethereum continuing to go up than there is in Bitcoin continuing to go up. And this is really notable, especially after having passed the hard fork. All the bullish news we got in the past week or two, the JP Morgan news that there was, they're going to have crypto funds, Tesla back in the game, the German law. Germany is one of the most regulated countries in the world. allowing for institutions to trade in Bitcoin. Last week, PayPal. I mean, just so much bullish news. We haven't seen that much bullish news in such a long time. And yet we see that, there is fear in Bitcoin, but when it comes to Ethereum, it's like the reserves just continuing down. The trend right now, at least the way it looks, is that it just continues to go down. Also, if we look at, just back to Bitcoin for a second, something else that I like to follow, which is a bullish thing, is if you look at the miners. So these blue lines, this histogram represents different price points in time, and also in places in time where miners sold a lot of Bitcoin. So as you see here, as Bitcoin is going up, miners are not really, selling their Bitcoin. They're holding on to their Bitcoin. So this is also bullish from the perspective of seeing that miners are holding on to their Bitcoin. And you see here, miners reserve, the amount of BTC held in miners' wallets is going up. So not only are they not selling, but they're also accumulating more Bitcoin. So this is bullish for Bitcoin in general. The contradiction between what the miners are doing and what let's call them larger wallets are doing on exchanges, it's hard to put the two together and explain it. But there's a clear change here, and there is some fear. It's not huge. It's not like it's a huge spike, but there is some change here in what's going on, as we see that there is more Bitcoin flowing onto the exchanges. So it's something to keep an eye on, that's for sure. Stablecoin is another thing that's interesting to look at. I'm just gonna find stablecoins. I don't know where I just saw it earlier. Favorites. So this is new, guys, for me. I'm learning how to use this on-chain analysis, and I'm loving it. It's really cool. Gives you an insight onto what's happening. This is free, by the way. They have several tiers, and the higher tiers give you more information, but are extremely expensive. Like you need to spend $700-800 a month to go into the higher tiers. So depends on the kind of trader, I guess, and what you're able to afford. The stable coins. So stable coins are going up. The ratio of BTC market cap relative to the aggregated market cap of all stable coins. So there's more stable coins being printed.
That's excellent news, because I'm invested in some stable coins.
Congratulations. I predict your portfolio will be stable.
Yes.
So guys, this is just like the guys, these are the people behind stable coins that are just kind of trying to meet the demand, where they're going to supply more stable coin, they're going to mint more stable coins so people can buy more Bitcoin. But there was another chart that I seem to have lost in here that showed that the amount of stable coin on exchanges is increasing. Oh, here it is. That's the one. So spot exchanges inflow, the total amount of BTC transferred. No, that's BTC. Sorry, guys, I can't find it. If I find it a little later, I'll bring it back into the conversation. But what I wanted to show was a chart that showed that these days there's more stable coin on the exchanges. There's just more stable coin on exchanges. When there's more stable coin on exchanges, flowing into exchanges, obviously that also is a bullish sign. And when there's stablecoin Bitcoin leaving exchanges, plus stablecoin going in, that's a very bullish sign. So I'd like to see more Bitcoin leaving exchanges before I completely say that we're very bullish on Bitcoin, but we're seeing it on Ethereum. Sorry, that was a bit muddled, guys, because as I'm thinking and I'm trying to find that chart, I couldn't find that chart. That's about it for me in terms of looking at the market and mostly like Bitcoin and Ethereum and what's happening with Bitcoin and Ethereum, we could take a look at the Ethereum chart. And similar to Bitcoin, we broke out of the channel. And I'll just go back to a 4-hour just so we can see it clearer. Would be nice to see it kind of like a retest here before we continue back up, because this was an important zone to break. But again, you don't have to. I mean, people sometimes wait for a very long time to see retests, and then all of a sudden, the market got ahead of them and they catch the dust. But today we do see, I was talking with Pumpeye earlier before we started this call, we do see some bearish signals, short-term bearish signals. So how far do we drop? I don't think it's going to be far, but we do see those red candles show up over here. I'll just zoom in because I don't know if you guys can see.
But do you mean because your chart is the smallest thing on your screen?
That's right. Yeah. So that's it, guys.
Bilo doesn't need to look at.
Do you have anything you want to add? Do you want to share any charts?
Do you know what? All I was actually going to say was your short looks like it might be in at a good point. Actually, I'm looking at the daily.
Yeah, I'm actually.
We're going down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm on 70% ROE right now.
Ooh, very nice, very nice.
I don't want to alarm anyone. We're not talking here about a dump, guys. This is just like this is scalping, okay? This is just scalping.
And we're only talking about, hopefully, in my opinion, hopefully we're going to see a retracement down to the most important line in crypto, which was that line of resistance that we were talking about.
Let me just go back. Just go back. Here.
So you can see on Bilo's chart there, that red line that comes down, that is what I had termed the most important line in crypto, and it's that line of resistance that came down that dictated that we were essentially still in a downtrend, or that we were at least not in an uptrend. So that was the most important line for us to break, the most important line of resistance. And it also coincided, if you look, pretty much with the top of that channel that Bilo had drawn out. I'm hoping if we do see a retracement, which I actually do hope that we see a retracement, because you need to be able to come down to go further up. I'm hoping that we come down and we retest that and confirm it as support before moving up. I have little Pumpeye in the background deciding that he wants to join in the call. Yeah, so I mean, for us to have broken straight above the 200, we did for a brief moment, but I couldn't see us going above that straight away with no form of resistance. So it probably is a very good point for us to be coming back down to retest, confirm that line as support or the top of the channel, whichever happens to come first, and then to carry on moving up. There's very little resistance up until that 200. If you look over on the VPVR on Bilo's chart, which is the yellow and blue on the right hand side,
right here, guys.
That shows how many basically where the volume has been within the chart, where we've seen most volume. So there is a fair bit of resistance overhead where that 200 is, as you can see. But there's also a great deal of support around the top of that channel. I think we're going up. I think we're going to see a slight retracement, and then I think we're going to continue going up, and the chart is looking actually more healthy than it has done at any other point during this bull run, in my opinion. What say you?
Yeah, it looks quite nice. Yeah, it looks quite nice. It really does. And, we have been bullish, while many in the market have been calling for 20 and 15K around these regions. We held fast, I think, here in Crypto Society, continuously saying that we are bullish, even though we're hitting these lows, while many were calling for the 25, 20, and 15. And the reason for that was we saw this incredible accumulation that happened here, and as well as on-chain analytics that helped us to kind of map out a path for what was seen on-chain. again, I suggest anyone and everyone listening to go and try to learn on-chain analysis. It's not hard with all the data that's put, in a very clear and concise manner. It just takes time to familiarize yourself with and to start actually making use of it. It adds quite a powerful tool to anybody's investment strategy, as maybe calling it the third tier of investment. The 3 tiers being TA, FA, and now on-chain.
And on top of that, for a fourth, sentiment. I was just about to say that one of the indicators that I use for whether I think we're going to go up or down is quite often sentiment. So if I'm in the group and I hear everybody talk, or I see everybody talking, and they're all saying, "Oh, we're going down, we're going to 19k," and all that sort of stuff. For a lot of the time, for me, that is an indicator that actually everybody has capitulated and we're about to go up. Because it's a sign of weakness from everyone, and most people have been selling. I recall quite a few people saying, "Oh, I think I should sell now," because they were scared that we were going to go below the line of support of the bottom of that channel, when actually that's the worst possible time that you can be selling, is when we're already going down. If you want to be selling, you need to be doing it when you're in profit and you're seeing green candles, rather than waiting until the point where we're on our way down. We've already seen potentially the bottom. You sell, and that's when everybody piles in and the market starts going up. You've just sold the bottom and you feel terrible. So yeah.
Is there a chart you'd like to share, Pumpeye?
No, I'm good. I've been too busy talking to you to be able to compile anything, so I'm
all right.
Perfectly happy with what we've done.
Okay, guys. Are there any questions in YouTube? If you guys, whoever's following, could type them out. We'll try to answer your questions.
There aren't any comments at all so far. Dave is actually with us in the meeting, I believe.
Hey, Dave.
I don't know whether he's got anything to ask.
I am here. Can we look at the best coin outside of Ethereum, please?
We can look at the best coin outside of Ethereum immediately, sir.
Thank you.
Whilst we try and decipher which one this is.
Oh,
He's got it straight away.
I know what he wants.
I know what he wants.
I speak DJ.
I speak Solana.
So
here we go. Dave?
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Good.
And such a down-to-earth guy as well, which is really good to see.
Very nice. Yeah, very nice.
Absolute brain.
He is. I just needed to see where Pinky was. If anyone gets that.
No.
Pinky in the Brain, the cartoon.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You should look it up. It's really funny.
Okay.
Maybe I will. So, Solana, Mama, we had in the past talked about this inverse head and shoulder, which came to fruition and have gone even beyond that at the point. We will naturally see Solana take a dip a little bit with the rest of the market today. Emphasis on a little bit. There's no reason to think it's going any further.
Maybe about 33 where you've got that line, I'd have said.
Possibly.
Is that almost a massive W as well that you're looking at?
This here?
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, I mean, it's close enough. It's close enough to a double. It's close enough to a double bottom in the sense that, for me, I'm just following this trend line here. Okay, and what I found interesting is we bounced off of the 200 EMA, and my orange is 200 is a 1200 EMA on the 4 hour, which is a 200 EMA on the daily. So we bounced off of it here. We dropped below it here. I mean, maybe like a fluke, right? 13.5%. And then we dropped below it here again, exactly 13.5%. Just an observation, doesn't mean anything. I mean, if it happens the third time, I'll start really paying attention to the 13.5% below the 200 EMA. If it happens a third time, I'm just going to sell my house and buy more Solana. But
living in a shoebox.
I love this coin. I mean, everybody does. And it's just an amazing project, fastest blockchain, so many projects building on Solana, now NFTs. Did you guys see all these NFTs going out? It's just insane. There's apes, monkeys, lions, just so many NFTs. And I think Solana is going to see the next NFT craze happen on it very soon. There's already some projects out there building NFTs on Solana. So yeah, not my area of expertise. Don't really understand it, but I will somehow try to make profit off of it. Anything you want to see here, DJ?
It's just really for that. I know I'm stretching for a thing here, but for the W, how far will that go up from the top of the W?
So if this was a real double bottom, because there is like $1.50 difference. I mean, let's say it was a real double bottom. The target would be, it would look pretty much the same.
Oh yeah.
So the target would be the double bottom to the peak in between, and then you transpose that on top, and we would be looking somewhere at around $55, which is not far-fetched at all, because we've been there before, right? So if we see the market continue to bounce back up, I mean, would have zero shock in my system to see Solana at 55 again very, very, very soon. Right now, it's just recovering like the rest of the market is. So everybody's targets should be set on the previous all-time highs if we continue on the path we're on right now. Same signal you'll see here on the weekly. Mind you, Solana doesn't have that much of a history on Binance, but there is a buy signal on the weekly. And the only reason you get a buy signal on Market Cypher B is when you have the momentum change and you see that the leading momentum change goes past the lagging one. And that's why you have a buy signal. And you'll see this green dot on, I think, all projects right now. If we see dot, there it is. Oh yeah, so dot is also looking quite good. Guys, we've told everybody, I think, over and over again, buy the dip. There's projects that fundamentally are so strong. I mean, you don't need to do TA on them. You don't need to look at a chart, and just anytime they drop, do yourselves a favor and just buy the dip. Because long term, these are going to be the projects that are going to survive and will be there, whether we're in a bear market, whether we're in a bull market, whether half of crypto, as we know it today, is changed forever or gone or disappears. These are projects that are there to stay. They have fundamentally changed the landscape. And every time you see a dip, my strong advice, and it is financial advice, is to buy the dip. So DOT, Solana, KSM, Ethereum. I mean, there's quite a few, but these are the main ones. Obviously Bitcoin, but I'm personally not so interested in accumulating Bitcoin. I'm more interested in accumulating Ethereum and the other coins I just mentioned, because I feel that the value and the potential for them to multi-X is greater than Bitcoin's potential, because Bitcoin serves one purpose. It's digital gold. The others actually have a use case. It's not just a rare item. It's a rare item with a use case. So for me, it's more interesting. Cardano. Again, a lot of talk about Cardano. It's been there for a while. difference between Cardano and Ethereum. Both are going after the same market. It's smart contracts. They are competition to each other. While Ethereum, and I read this somewhere, and I liked the way that it was put, while Ethereum is not scared to go there and screw up and learn as they go, Cardano want to perfect before they actually come out. So their main net is still yet to come. But once they do come out, their vision is to have a perfect chain with no problems, no errors, everything thought out, everything tested, everything engineered. It's taking time. But I also strongly believe Cardano is going to be one of those projects that will do extremely well and will make people a lot of money. And this is also an opportunity to buy. That's about it for me. DJ, if you have anything else to say.
Yeah, I'm not touching Cardano with a barge pole. That's just because I hate it, because I had 330,000 of their tokens.
I know that story. That sucks.
Yeah, I know. No, but with Cardano, I don't think it's going to be as big as what people believe. It will still be big. But Cardano's use case isn't first world or developed world is probably better. It's more in the developing world.
That's right.
So while it will make money and it will really help out, so there's a thing here. This is a social experiment. In my eyes, I'm not sure for the other. Yes, it will make money. It will make a lot of money, but because it's socially driven and it's the right thing to do, it may not make as much money as Ethereum, Solana, or anything else for an investor. But for users where they're spreading it out through Africa and everything else, I think it's a cracking project. And I still have some in it, just not as many as I used to.
You wish you did, though, didn't you?
I would have sold out by now anyway, even if I did.
It's hard to sell. It's hard to sell. Or not so, sorry. It's sometimes it's like when you look at people that went into Bitcoin and at a few $100s and you wonder, did they, what percentage of those people sold? It's probably the majority. So I see your point in that you probably would not have held it this long.
No, I would have sold out at maybe 150, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Is there any other coin you want to look at, DJ?
I'm not sure how old it is, but Mist.
Mist.
Yeah.
Sure. This one here?
I believe so, yeah. It should be MIST, yeah, that's it.
And it's only on Poloniex? Okay. Oof. Woo-hoo.
No, that's not that, I don't think. Because you can get it on Dext. Hold on.
Is it maybe MYST?
No, it's definitely MIST. Hold on.
So maybe you just can't get it on TradingView. No, doesn't exist on TradingView. What are your thoughts on Kusama, DJ?
I think it's going to go up slower than DOT. Because it had its first round.
So you think DOT is gonna have a run, but Kusama is gonna linger behind a bit?
Yeah, I think DOT is gonna outperform it in terms of X's, but in terms of coin value, Kusama is going to be so much higher.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just down to market caps and everything else that we all know about. But yeah, DOT has been too far behind for some reason, and I can't understand why it's been as much lagging behind. But for me as well, it's it's PCX. That's another one that we've been talking about for a while in CS. That is just so undervalued.
What do you suppose?
What, in terms of the values?
Yeah, why do you think it's so undervalued? Just
for the sheer amount of it is the layer 2 BTC that goes through. And I think a lot of people were holding on to it to just get the KSX and then dumped it down, but they maybe oversold it. Plus, it was giving out a lot of emissions in terms of, it was 40% at one point. So a lot of people have actually sold their emissions and their staking amounts at profit, and it's driven it down. But it's like a lot of dots, too undervalued. I think PCX is too undervalued. KSM is probably, in terms of where the market is, it's probably about $100 undervalued from where it should be.
Interesting. I mean, KSM was at $600.
Yeah.
Yep, $620. Well, it'll get back up there. I don't really worry about it. I hold some KSM. I have some in the parachain auctions, and honestly, it doesn't concern me one bit.
That's at a good accumulation price right now.
Yep.
I think it's a bit like Link as well. And I know we're dodging around because we were just talking about the DOT and then the KSM ecosystem. But it's like Link, that's been going up and down. But I'm not sure if that's because the developers have been selling any of their stacks that they have. But that seems, well, it's coming back up. Lots of things are coming back up. But again, they seem to be too sold.
Hold on, let me just get Link. Here's Link.
Now, a lot of people would describe that as the Oracle of Oracles, and I tend to agree.
Well, it's more than an Oracle too, right? But there's a lot of, I know that they're working on a lot of, oops, what did I just do here? Here we go. I know they're working on a lot of things, and there's a lot of partnerships being announced. In fact, Solana and Link is one. So there's a lot of things. And Link is going to be one of those projects that I think, for those that didn't buy, including myself, I don't have that much. It's one of those that I think I'll come back and say, damn, it was $20.
Yeah.
You know what?
Oh, yeah.
I might buy some Link.
Just so you don't have to say that.
but then it's like, just from a charts perspective, it's mind you, I don't have the full chart on this. Which exchange has had it longer? Let me see. Let me just get rid of this.
Binance, I think, maybe, for what you would come into.
Not Kink. Pumpeye. Link. Kink.
That's a whole different one that you may be invested in.
Wrong website.
Oops. Coinbase, maybe, because I don't see Binance here for some reason. I see Binance Perpetual Future.
You're not likely to get Kink on Coinbase. You're more likely to find gate.io.
Did you just say gate.io?
Yeah.
Okay. Bitfinex, maybe, or Coinbase. Let's try Bitfinex.
Some dodgy backstreet Chinese exchange.
Link, maybe on
Coinbase has been there for a while, I think.
Coinbase.
I suppose Links and Kinks.
Oh yeah, there you go. Good lad. Dave knows, guys. If ever you have questions, Dave knows. So let's do a holistic TA on Link. Let's just see here. I don't know where that wave would start. Oh, freaking Baldwin has red stuff. Sorry, guys. We have a few users for this, and
you have timeshares on it.
Boom. Here we go. That's what I wanted to see. Okay. So from here to here, we retested the 0.786. But that doesn't necessarily mean that this is the right place to put it. So anyway, I was just trying to see if I can get quick info. I did not get quick info. If we do a Fibonacci from here to here, we haven't even reached 382. Yeah. Let's just compare that to other coins. Let's just, for example, compare it to.
But the other thing as well is on the timeline, you're doing it on the weekly there, aren't you?
Yeah, it's okay. I want to see from this all-time high down to here where we're at today, right? So
Yeah.
just for example, look at Solana just as an example, not because I have any favoritism going or anything like that. No,
So it is number 2 in my stack.
nothing like that. Nothing like that. I just randomly picked Solana, right? And if I was to do the same thing, look at that. In terms of a recovery, Solana is already gone above 50% from the all-time high to this May drop. And compare that to back to Link. What the hell is Link? I have to put it in again. Link. We were on Coinbase, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
There she is. Link on Coinbase. So you compare that. If Link was to perform similar to, say, Solana, in terms of recovery, it should be at $36 right now. So possibly Link is also undervalued in terms of the recovery. Let's compare it to DOT. If we look at DOT from the all-time high, I mean, Solana is just outperforming everybody. So look at that. DOT and Link are underperforming compared to Solana. So guys, Solana.
So you can take that 2 ways, in that Solana will start to run out of steam and the others will catch up.
No, I don't like that way of thinking.
No, what are you talking about, Dave? Don't be silly.
You know I hold loads.
Just kick him out. That's it. He just said something bad about Solana.
I mean, honestly, Solana's going to run out
Realist.
of steam. Look at Solana's market cap in comparison to its competition. It's not going to run out of steam yet, mate. It's going to be a little while.
Them's fighting words.
You remember that gif of the dog?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember, I do have a ninja dog.
I've got a very small, very cute sausage dog that will fight your dog with love and licks.
Ethereum, comparing Ethereum, it's performing like Solana. Look at that. It's exactly performing like Solana.
No, I do have to correct you here. Solana is performing like Ethereum.
Oh, sorry, sir. Yes, I agree. I am so sorry.
You know, Ethereum's my baby.
I'm sorry. Solana's mine. What else can we compare to? Bitcoin. Let's see Bitcoin. Let's see Pumpy. Do you want to see if Bitcoin is performing like Solana? It is. No, it's not. It's actually underperforming. Look at that.
Yeah.
We didn't hit 0.5 yet. So long story here is Ethereum and Solana, guys. Wow.
You know what? Can you do me a favor? Can you just have a look at Seller Network, CELR?
CELR. Here we go. Oh boy, does not look good.
Yeah, it does. What are you talking about? You're on the weekly, aren't you?
That's okay. Okay. Doesn't matter. Look at that.
Yeah. But look, from the low point, it's near enough done a 2x.
From which low point?
From that low point.
Here you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I'm trying to compare what were you better off investing in?
Oh, okay.
Since Ethereum,
Well,
Solana so far come out on top.
That depends. If this is near enough done a 2x, right? So it's like a 1.7x nearly, just about. Then what was Solana's recovery? What was its low point and what's it got to? Did it get down as low as 18?
$19. Let me just see here, just to be sure.
So it's basically done a 2x.
19.
So it's basically done a 2x. So actually, they're not that far apart. They might not have been as close together in recovery when you take into account the high point and then the low point, but that just means potentially that it dropped further. So it hasn't been able to make its way back up quite as much because it dropped further. But the actual gains, if you're talking in monetary value, not necessarily for the chart's perspective of getting back up to where it was, but gains perspective, then actually it's done very well. And it's not that far behind Solana. Do you see what I'm saying?
No. Yes.
No.
I think he's dissing Solana.
Me? No, not at all. It was actually just because there's someone in the group. I'm invested in Solana, but I'm also invested in Seller Network. No financial advice, obviously. Or take it as you will. But someone in the group who I chat to quite a lot, he said, "Oh, why is Seller Network performing so badly?" But actually, it's really not. It's just that he happened to buy at a very high point, and he's watched it go down.
Are you in Seller Pumpeye?
Yes.
That's why.
I think I'm
Now-
in pretty much every coin that you've discussed today, apart from DOT.
You're not in DOT? How come?
Not in DOT. It was just not.
I'm going to have to email you a punch.
He's gonna email you.
I actually once put a punch in the face on eBay, and someone purchased it, and they emailed me saying, "Well, how do we go about this now then?" And I thought
You should have made an NFT.
I thought that this was a really funny idea, and when I searched for it on eBay, there was actually someone else in America that had done exactly the same thing at the same time. It was the only 2 listings ever, and they just happened to be at the same time, and they're sold for hundreds of thousands. I was very disappointed.
Now, to be fair, you get that quite a lot in the UK, don't you? So it's okay.
What, punched in the face?
Yeah. Bar brawls, you know.
I don't know. I don't go out. I live in the UK.
No.
I live in the UK, so it's kind of a I think I just won't go out.
What'd be a good one is I'm not sure if you looked at it at the beginning or anything. It would have been Bitcoin is injective. That spiked up and then it dropped down quite quick.
Do you have access to
You
it?
know what? Can I just tell you something? Injective protocol only goes up just before Bitcoin is going to go down. Every single time. If injective pumps, then straight after it pumps or as it's pumping, Bitcoin goes down and it just ruins all of the profits that you might have not taken already. If you were to look back over the charts over specific times, every time it's pumped up high, it's immediately been destroyed by Bitcoin dropping down. And
So if that's the case and you know that, why you should be a millionaire by now?
You think?
All right, guys. I'm going to have to let you go. If you guys want to continue, feel free.
That is absolutely fine. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's really good.
Bilo.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. Hope you join us again next week. Pumpeye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Have a good week.
DJ.
Trade safe.
Bye-bye.